Hello to all. So in this video, we are going to discuss what's the major difference between blocking and non-blocking statements. So there's always been a confusion between these two things: what is blocking and what is non-blocking statements, and when we need to use them, right? So I have written here a small piece of code to intuitively understand the difference between both. Before that, let me explain some briefly explain some concept behind blocking and non-blocking statements. So so these blocking and non-blocking signal assessment assignments is one of unique concept in hardware description language. Okay, so the main reason to use either blocking or non-blocking assignment is to generate either combinational or sequential logic, right? So if you are working with a combinational logic, so for example, if you are giving two inputs to the AND gate and if you want to get the output, so in this case you can use the blocking blocking statements where blocking assignment. Whereas for example, if you are working with serial in parallel out register shift registers, so in this type of registers we are giving clock to all the flip-flops at a time. So individually each and every flip-flop is working concurrently or parallelly, right? So at these type of cases where which involve some sequential elements like flip-flop latches etc, we must use non-blocking assignments because hardware is nothing but which works on basis on the non-blocking assignments. Okay, so if you look at some software language such as C code, so here is a some pseudocode. Let's look at this. Here LED on equal to 0, count equal to count plus 1, and LED off equal to 1. So here is a small code. You can see this second line is allowed to be executed only after this first line is completed, right? So directly our compiler directly doesn't go and execute this second line or execute all the lines at a time, right? So it execute first LED on equal to 0, then execute this line, then later execute this line. So what happening here is the second line is being blocked to be executed by the first line, right? So the second line is only allowed to be executed once the first line is complete. One assignment block on assignment blocks the next from executing until it is done. Fine. So this is nothing but the blocking assignment because it's after completion of this line only other line is going to be executed. So in a hardware description language such as Verilog, there is logic that can execute concurrently or at the same time as opposite to one line at a time. For example, there is one 5-volt current port for our particular hardware device. Okay, when we are giving this particular current or to the our circuit board, the current will pass parallelly to all the circuits. It's not going to be happen like first I will go to this block, then I will go to that block. It's not going to be happen like that, right? So whatever components that are connected to this power supply at a time, all will be getting that power supply. So to represent that in the form of coding or in the form of some description, we use non-blocking assignments. Okay, so we will take a clear example and discuss that. Okay, so you observe this small piece of Verilog code. So here clock is my inputs and outputs are my test1, test2 and test3. Okay, so input is clock and I have declared my output as these three things: test1, test2 and test3. As this is a sequential procedural block, always block, so whatever that are on LHS sites need to be stored for some amount of time. So for that we are using reg. Okay, registers, three registers, that is test1 and test2 and test3. Okay, now uh, you can see here whenever there is a positive edge of clock, okay, whenever there is positive edge of clock, the control goes to this begin and end statement. Fine. So first this line will be executed. You can see this is the blocking assignment equal to symbol. It's not something like this. It's not something like this, right? It is just equal to symbol, that means blocking. So these three lines are going to execute in sequential manner, as we have previously seen in C language, right? So first this one is going one bit binary one is going to assign to test1, okay, and after completion of this line, this test1 is going to assign to test2, and later this test2 is going to assign to test3, okay. The value 1 is going to assign to test3 in a single clock cycle, okay. So I'm going to run this simulation. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to force some force clock. So set this to binary. Leading edge value is 0 and trailing edge is 0. You can see here my clock period is 100 nanoseconds. Click on OK. Just you can see here run for 100 nanoseconds. That means I'm running for only one time period. Okay, so you can see here clearly this is my positive edge of clock. So this is at 1000 nanosecond time frame. There is one positive edge of clock. So whenever there is one positive edge of clock, the one is transferred to test1, then to test2, and then to test3. Okay. So test1, it's assigning to test2, and again to test3 in a single clock cycle. So let's see what's happened if we use non-blocking statements. So as I said earlier, in non-blocking statement, these three, whenever there is one positive edge of clock, all these three execute parallelly. Okay, so the line number 2 does not wait for line number 1 to execute. That means at first test1 is some undefined state. It will be some z. It will be in high or x, unknown thing, and test2 will be unknown. So after executing one clock cycle, what happens is this one is going to assign to test1, and test2 is will be in unknown condition, and test3 is in unknown condition. Okay, so now we know that what is test1. Test1 is 1. So when we execute for second clock cycle, as test1 is which is ran in the previous clock cycle, which is assigned in the previous clock cycle to 1, is going to assign at this time. Okay, now for the second time when we are running, we will get test2 as 1, and when we are running for third time, this test2 is going to test3. Okay, it will be something confusing to while explaining. Let's see in simulation, it will be very clear. Okay, let's see now. So I'm running for first clock cycle. Oh, I'm sorry, I need to force the clock. So let's force clock. So here again my time period is 100 nanosecond. So I'm running for first time period, single clock. You can see for the first time when I mean for the first time when we are seeing the positive clock edge here, my test1 got high. Okay, so at this condition my test2 and test3 are in unknown condition x. Okay, so this is something z, high impedance state, but I just see here whenever there is one positive edge, test1 is assigned to 1. Okay, for the first time when I am running, as all three are running concurrently, test1 is initially not assigned to anything. Test 2 is not assigned anything. Only after completion of first cycle, one is assigned to test 1. Okay. Now let's run for second time. Second clock cycle. You can see whenever here there is a second positive edge of clock, you can see our test 2 got high. Okay, our test 2 got high. This one, our test 2 got high, because in the previous clock cycle, you can see here, in the previous clock cycle, whenever positive edges appeared, our test 1 went to high, so it is now in high state. Okay, as test 2 equal to test 1, as test 2 equal to test 1, so whenever we are running again, these three are going to execute parallelly. So at this time, test 2 is again in unknown test 3 is again in unknown condition, whereas test 2 is set to high. Now let me run one more time. Now this time test 2 is now already 1 or in high condition, test 3 will be automatically going to high. So let's see. So whenever you see next positive edge of clock cycle, my test 3 also went to high. So if I run again, it will be staying in same high condition. So this is what we see in hardware. Okay, this is what we see in hardware. This is how shift register work. So hope you understood what's the major difference between blocking and non-blocking statements. Thank you.